Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. It is a Friday, so thanks for joining me again today. Hope you enjoy this video. We're going to focus on drip garden today, and we're going to talk about green thumbs, hit up a little bit of that. Hopefully, we'll make that thumb green for you, or at least help you understand how to make it green. So we'll talk about some data from some websites that are really awesome in understanding the garden and what's going on with it. We're going to talk some strategy as well, and we will do all of that in just a second. Before we hit the video, guys, I wanted to mention I'm at 200 subscribers now. That's kind of not a big deal to a lot of people. I'm still a small guy, but I am really, really excited about it. I really appreciate you guys that have subbed to me. It means a lot. So I'm going to continue to hopefully try to make this channel as best as I can so I can give you guys some good content. And if you're watching this and haven't subbed, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button down below. And of course, hit the notification bell so you can be first to a video in case it's a new launch of a DApp or whatever's coming with a node project, for instance. So you don't miss out and you can get that content quick to get into that pre-sale or whatever it might be. So also, if you can, please give me a like on this video. It really helps me out. I like it. YouTube will get themselves spinning on that algorithm and hopefully get this video out there to be seen. So with that, yeah, thanks everybody again. Let's move back into Drip Garden. All right, so we're going to start with just looking at the page. Nothing super special. Most of you guys that are in this already know what this is. So this is the animal.farm, and this is the Drip Garden portion of it. It's broken into several pieces, the animal farm that is. So you can see they have farms and pools, the pig pens, the big note here. And there's new things that are coming or have come, such as Piggy Bank, but the Drip Garden, it's been around since December. It's pretty simple. So the idea is you already should be familiar with drip. If you don't know drip, I have a video up here that I'm going to show, and you can go take a look at it and learn what drip is. But the drip garden takes a drip token and a BUSD in equal amount to create a liquidity pair. So you've got equal amounts drip and BUSD. So you create that pair, which is, of course, why it says drip BUSD garden. You create that pair by coming to this little bad boy here, which is built in. This is very cool, by the way. You can take many different tokens that are out there, and this will basically take the tokens for you and create the LP pair for you. A lot of people aren't familiar with LP pairs, so can be confusing, but they have to be equal parts. So when I say equal parts, equal USD value. So if you have $50 worth of drip tokens, that doesn't tell you how many tokens you have, but if it's $50, then that means you have to have $50 worth of BUSD tokens. So you can see this here. I've got a couple in my wallet, but if I drop this down, this will give you a list of anything else that you can use automatically to create your drip liberation item that basically goes out to PancakeSwap, does the fastest route and says, I'm going to take this and create however many drip LP tokens that I can make you. So that's how that works. You put that in and it makes them for you and dumps them back in your wallet. Pretty easy. If you don't understand this, please throw some comments down in the bottom. I didn't want to make this all about, necessarily a tutorial how to do this, but if you need help, again, comments, I'll do my best to help you there. And maybe at some point I'll do a video for this, maybe some tutorials on LP pairs one day when I get time. Okay, so let's assume you've made your LP tokens. You come down here now and you deposit those LP tokens into the drip garden. So right here, you'd put in, we're going to say we had 10. We had 10 LP tokens, and it shows it right here. I don't have any. That would allow you to buy 110 plants at this time. You'd buy those. Those plants would show up right here. You can see I have 418. So they'd show up right there. They'd start producing you seeds. This garden basically operates off of plants. Seeds are generated, and a certain amount of seeds, I believe it's like 2.5 million or so, those seeds basically can be planted again to create you a new plant. And so that's the idea. This is very similar to drip, except that it is an LP pair. And this contract doesn't pay 1% a day. This contract pays up to 3% a day. The up to 3% means it's variable and it depends on many different things. The contract balance, it depends on if people are harvesting seeds, which means selling them, or if they're making plants. And there's some other variables in there. So it is kind of complicated, but the gist of it is you can earn up to 3% a day. You still want to compound a lot to stay up with things. And we'll talk about decay and how your value drops over time. Uh, but that's the gist of it. So when I come in here, I have no plants ready to sow yet, or to plant or to generate from the seeds. So that's what that means. I have 17 minutes. You can see that right there. So nothing's ready yet. But when it becomes ready, it will show that I have one plant available. And I will come down here and, sorry, I will come down here and it will actually say compound. So right there where it says seeds not ready to plant, that'll basically let you come in and you'll compound, and that will take whatever's available and you will end up with a new plant. So the idea of what I was talking about with decay, let's come down here, take a look at this for yourself. But this chart is showing the red, most minor games that exist out there. And this is essentially a minor, by the way, for those of you that don't know it. You're essentially giving, you sacrifice that LP, by the way. You can never get that back out. I didn't mention that. You deposit that, you never get it back out. You get your initial back out by withdrawing in some sort of strategy to get your return on investment back. And then, of course, you're trying to get profit at that point after you've got your return on investment. So the red line is looking at the way most minor games work. Only people that get in the very beginning, like pre-sales, normally are the ones that benefit the most. Well, Forex, who is the creator of all of these things with his team, he has added a different method, trying to make sure that people that get in late into the project, which is what this shows, these people down here on these projects don't do well. So it's about early entry for most projects, whales, etc. This project, while those people benefit in the beginning, people that come in later get a much better price on plants. That is part of the decay. So technically right now we are, I'm going to say 3 months and a little more. We are about 3 months plus. So technically we are still on this drop down here, not the red line. Sorry. We are on this drop here on the green. So that says 200 days. And this is not exact. I use this just as a discussion tool for other people that don't understand what's going on. So there's a lot of factors that are happening with a garden that people don't understand. But this is a good tool to look at to show that we were supposed to lose buying power, or in this case, this ties back to a lot to seed value, but it's supposed to ramp back up over time. So basically, you see this here. You get a better buy-in price as a new user, so you don't lose out. The whole point is the game still has value later, and that's part of the push here. Okay, I spent a lot of time on that. So come take a look at this. That's how you get in. So here's the idea now. Let's step over into some of the concerns that people have, some of the stuff I'm seeing out there with people, I guess, freaking out. Um, Seed value has lost value, which seeds, move over to LP essentially. You can see this right here. So that is my current seed value that I have. You see the seeds above that are available. Those seeds are worth 0.074 LP, which, as it turns out, an LP has a certain value right now. That LP is worth, in the very beginning, is a certain amount of drip BUSD, and that has fallen because drip has fallen in value. So right now I have $1.98 if I tried to harvest this, that I could pull out in value in LP, which again is the 0.074, but that's how much that's worth USD wise. So part of the issue is this seed value, the number of seeds here from a month ago, that amount of seeds was worth more LP than it is today. So you got more LP out of it. I'm just going to throw a number out. A month ago, that might have been 0.15 LP instead of about half of that. Okay. So that's the seed decay that we're talking to. Now, I want to come over to, I think I'm going to go here first. A key point here is a lot of people, it's gone back and forth, is what I'll say. I see people now still saying that they don't believe this is true. The idea is you can never have a fractional plant. So, I mean, it's logical, right? You either have a plant or you don't. So if you don't have enough seeds to make a plant and you tried to compound those seeds, you would lose them. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's come back over here so I can show you this briefly. Right now I have 0. When I get to 1 plant, my seeds are gonna continue to go. It just keeps generating seeds. So if 1 plant, and I'm changing my numbers here for an example, if I need 10 seeds for a plant, okay, and it keeps ticking, well, when I get to 12 seeds and I compound, what happens to those extra 2 seeds? The idea is you lose them because it's not enough to make a second plant. So when you're between plants on your seeds, a lot of people believe that you are throwing away seeds and you're losing them, which means you're losing buying power. So a lot of things have come out, like this drip garden scheduler from a good guy. I'll put this link down in the description so you guys can check this out. It's a lot of people know about this and use it, and there are others as well. So tons of them. This gives you all kinds of information from contract balance, the value of the drip BUSD LP, so of 1, and then it also talks about your wallet. So they even have the numbers. It's 2.592 million seeds to make 1 plant. So when you hit that, you can compound. When you go further, you can compound. You can compound multiple plants. It's just you have to have at least 1 plant to actually access compounding. All right, so this is the number that we talked about as far as decay. Okay, so 2.592 million seeds can either make you a plant or they can be withdrawn to get LP. So that's how you get your money back. That amount of LP to those seeds has dropped. It was like it was like 0.25 LP way back, more than a month ago now. As I said, I'm not doing spreadsheet stuff here because to be honest with you, the data analytics stuff that we're going to look at is way more useful to me. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't use a spreadsheet if you like it, but I want to do something different here. All right. So that decay has been happening and it's about, my numbers are showing, it depends, it changes, right? But that number for the past week to 2 weeks has been between 0.004 and zero point zero 0.05 pretty consistently. So this is my example. So you see it's 0.085. It was closer to, I want to say 0.09 yesterday, 0.090. So anyways, it's dropping steadily every day. Now it's supposed to. So, but people, it has dropped a little more rapidly and people are seeing that. And so I'm sure some people are selling. You can't say for sure all of this now. People are going to take profit, but some people are worried that other people are selling and going to get out of here and they're going to ruin the contract. I don't think that's true. I think there's a lot of people that know that that's not the case. This has been around since, again, December. That is a long time for a miner. And the reason is because people are invested in this system. So, how do you fight seed decay? Well, you don't fight it by withdrawing because that means you don't gain ground. So, someone gave a great analogy of this in one of the groups I have. I don't remember the name. I'd give him credit if I could. So imagine this. Imagine that, what was it? Jason from Friday the 13th is chasing you, right? And he's following you. Well, when seed decay is way, way bigger, so way worse, when the percentage is higher, he's gaining on you. When it's less, he is not gaining on you. Now we throw in compounding and withdrawing. When you withdraw, you gain no ground, essentially. You aren't building a bigger gap between you and Jason because you're taking out and you're not making new plants. So if your plant value grows, that means your LP value grows, which means that you can produce more seeds, which means more LP, right? So when you compound, that's what you're doing is making more plants. When you withdraw, you are not making more plants. So there has to be some balance there. Now, a lot of people are going against the grain these past few weeks, and they cannot keep up with seed decay, which means they're actually losing value. Now, let's come down here. What I mean by that is if you see this by day, this is how much I earn. If 24 hours passes, that means that I've generated all these seeds and all those seeds are worth approximately 1.191. Sorry, got to keep my phone on. Got a buy-in project today. So those seeds are worth 1.191 LP. If I wait an entire 24 hours, that's how much I will have amassed that I can withdraw. Of course, I could plant those, but the idea is that 1.191 drops because of seed decay over time. So tomorrow, that might be 1.85 LP, right? So it's less. So a lot of people are having a hard time compounding and keeping up with that without losing value. And you want the opposite. You want to compound so that you steadily beat out, Jason will say. So you want the gap to be bigger. When it catches up to you, eventually you're going to lose the game because eventually you're going to basically make nothing in your LP. So that's the idea. A lot of people are worried about this. Now, my view is I said this in yesterday's video. Yes, you're getting your money back is important. You need to get ROI back. But at some point, remove your emotions, ask yourself what logically makes sense to you if you have faith that this is going to hold up. If you're withdrawing over and over again out of fear, then you are losing ground and you're eventually going to be dead in this contract. I am compounding right now, trying my best to keep up. I'm not telling you that I am keeping up, but I am staying further ahead than someone that is withdrawing constantly. Now, a lot of people have a balance. Some people do compounding for 5 full days, and this is out of a week, and the other 2 days, they're harvesting. There's too many strategies to go through over here, so I'm just throwing out ideas to you. So, my point is, you can do all that all day long on a spreadsheet all you want to, but I can look at this right now from today till tomorrow and know that I am not keeping up with it. So, what I focus on is what is this LP value each day? How much is it changing by? You aren't going to beat the seed decay forever, and compounding is your way to stay above it. Now, next up, here's what we're going to hit. This is probably the most important part of this, and we'll hit strategy after this. I'm going to try to wrap this up quickly, but there's a lot going on here. This is my wallet that I have tied in, but this initial part is just Drip Garden. It's not just me, okay? But you can put your wallet in here, and it will give you your wallet information just below once we get there. All right, so what does this tell us? Someone put this together, Drip Stats. I think I'm subscribed on here, but very good data points here that these guys have. This tells you everything you want to know about the entire garden platform. So you can see it launched back on December the 16th. Look at all those plants bought. So massive, right? So it goes along with all these data points. I'm not going to go over all this for you guys, but you can see everything you need to know about what people are doing in this garden. This has been steadily increasing. There are more players in the garden, or more wallets, really. So that's good. More people coming in helps keep this moving forward. Of course, less people coming in and more people withdrawing, eventually it does die. So keep that in mind. None of this is financial advice. I'm just telling you how it is and giving you the data. So total LP spent on buying. All right. So that much LP has gone in, about 1.7 million. Right now, total LPs harvested. So you have a diff, right? So some of it's come out. This has actually been dropping. Now, has it dropped significantly? Not really. It was over 800,000 a few days ago. So the whole idea here, I want you guys to notice this. This doomsday 31.2 days does not mean that it is going to end in 31.2 days. It specifically tells you worst case scenario. That means if everybody in this thing just withdraws forever, we're done in 31 days. I'm not doing that. I'm compounding. There's a lot of other people compounding, so it is not. The chances of it ending in 31 days are very slim. So calm yourselves when you see that. This just gives you the worst case scenario, period, if people did the worst thing ever. Okay. And we all know that people aren't doing that. All right. Now this is my wallet. What I wanted to show you was all of this data down here. Now you can see this is my plant value, or LP value in plants. So it gives you some data here that shows you your percentage ROI over time, because I did have some withdrawals way back. But from then on, I have been compounding. I have done nothing but compound. And the reason again is because these two data points here, my wallet LP positivity. So I am trying to fight decay greatly, and I have been losing. So I'm doing my best. My thoughts are still, even though I am losing, more plants means you are fighting against it and you're still staying afloat. You you may lose, but you lose faster if you withdraw and don't do enough compounding. That might be the best way to say it. So I'm still trying to stay ahead of the curve. Another keynote is here. Come down here. So I'm not going to go necessarily over this, but this is also related to plant value in terms of LP, which is that decay. So you can see that right there. I showed that number on the other. The harvest versus buy, those are actually a little different. So buying versus harvesting has different LP value to plants. So you can see my wallet LP positivity over time as well. I think this is pretty cool. So this is like a graph. So is it negative? Well, I can tell you right now, this is what you want. You want to see these bars above. You do not want to see them below. So I have lost out, but if you notice, I have tried leveled off much better than before. February was apparently very bad. That may have been when I withdrew. Um, so come here. I'm getting less and less decay essentially. All right. So the next thing I wanted to show, because I think this is important, where are you in plant size versus everyone else? So I'm at 400 and something plants. I am way up here. There are a ton of people up here, even way less in the whale areas because these are big prices here. Okay. There's two people with more than 100,000 plants, which I think is insane. But you can see the number of wallets here. There's a bunch in this group. So if you're back here, I'm not telling you you're losing so much. You don't have many plants and you need to compound if you only have 10 because you haven't bought very many. If you just saw 10 LPs bought you, what was it, 110 plants? Depending on what you got when you got in, that may have been a little bit more expensive, but 10 plants is not many LPs. So you've got to really, really compound to move forward at that point. So the other note is you really start off slow compounding in these areas, but once you get up bigger and bigger, you gain a lot of steam compounding to get bigger and bigger and bigger in your plant count. So just food for thought. Okay, so you can come down here and look at the contract balance. So note that this contract balance, this is plants. This is not the LP, by the way. This contract balance is still growing, which is a good sign. But note that the LP balance is what a lot of people are worried about. So it kind of peaked, I said, over 800,000. That was, we're going to say a couple days ago, very close to it. Um, it has steadily dropped. Now, is that a warning sign? Not necessarily. There are drops way back here. Okay. So here's my opinion. Some of this is tied to piggy bank launch. So it also depends on how much money's coming in. I am not fearful right now of this. Again, not financial advice. But piggy bank launch affected this because people wanted to get profit out to move money into piggy bank. They used the drip faucet for that. They used the drip garden. They used the animal farm, etc. Right? So that has impact on this. But if that's launched, and we're not going to discuss those problems, that was my previous video, which you can watch up here on the drip ecosystem. If that's done with, and we may have another project in the future that affects it, but right now this may level out a little bit, steadily stay flat, or maybe increase again. But I think it's going to level out some. And then the next thing hits, and you're going to see it happen again, probably because people want to get money in order to invest in whatever's next, right? So that's not a bad thing. That's just normal ebb and flow in anything in investments, really. I think my real point is I wanted to show you guys this. I'm going to link this down in the bottom. Come take a look at this. There's a ton of data. I know I didn't go over this, but this will tell you everything. This will tell you plants bought, plants sold, compounded, harvested LPs. It's just, this is good data points. So you can come back here and see that plants planted was at its highest. I believe that beat out the launch day. So 221, the largest amount of plants planted happened right there. Tons of good data in here. I think this tells you a lot, but you got to research. Now, the reason I say I'm not using a spreadsheet, because I can come in here and see where I'm at on LP decay, how much I'm fighting it. I can come back to the drip garden scheduler. This number doesn't always go down. I think I said that earlier. You always have plant decay. That does not mean that this number, this LP value can't actually go up because I have seen it go up. It has gone up. It depends on a lot of factors. The hope is that this number goes back up. And at some point, I will use that to my advantage. I will take some harvests, some withdrawals. You have to be smart about those, right? We have gone super long. Now, what I want to talk about. All right, so let's talk about garden strategy. This is not made up by me. I didn't create this, but I'm putting it on PowerPoint to talk to it, just in case someone watches this that doesn't know how to do this. So here's your garden. Got your drip BUSD in the form of plants here, and you withdraw. Now, what can you do with your drip BUSD LP? You can sell it after you've split it and make yourself some money, right? Or a lot of people have come up with a way to recycle to get some more value out of this. So here's your bag of seeds that you've withdrawn your LPs, right? You take your scissors, you cut those suckers in half, so you're splitting the LP pair. Now you've got your drip and your BUSD. Now you take your drip and you put it in the faucet. Why? Because if you already have a faucet account, m- most of you do if you're in the garden. If you don't, I highly recommend that you get into faucet, because faucet here, drip faucet, drip period, garden, I think should be a later investment. Um, Drip is more consistent in the faucet at 1% a day period versus the drip garden. You should see this from what we just discussed for sure, because you'll never always get 3% a day. So basically, it's moving around and it's not guaranteed. That 1% is guaranteed. So you drop that in there, you build up your faucet balance. So you're essentially growing your deposit in your faucet, which is a good thing. It helps you hit that max 100K faster indirectly. Next step is you take your BUSD, you toss that into drip liberation. And why would I do that? Here's my thought. You can keep the BUSD, or you can try to grow your garden with that BUSD. And the reason is because you can buy fresh plants. And if you noted a minute ago, buying plants actually nets you a little bit more LP value when you buy those than the withdrawal side of that for seeds. Okay, so if this amount of seeds equals this amount of plants, turns out buying them actually gets you a little bit higher LP value. Kind of odd, but that's the way it works. So you can recycle that, build your garden back up a little bit so it doesn't lose too much decay, and keep that moving and use this and keep recycling. And all the while, you're keeping this a little bit more afloat and you're building up your drip deposits, which is obviously a very good thing. Okay, so that's one strategy. I called it garden strategy. It's really like a plant butcher plant. There's a bunch of names for it, but this is specifically for the faucet. Now there's another, which really is focused on the idea of butchering pigs. So instead of this, I'm gonna have to talk to this one. Instead of doing it this way, you take it, your LPs, you deposit them in the farm, the animal farm, to generate pigs, because that's one of the farm pools that generates pigs. You take those pigs, you sell them or butcher them to make some profit. That one's pretty simple. That's the idea of butchering. You're killing off your pigs to make some profit. It's not super complicated. It's pretty easy. There are other strategies as well, but that's just a couple of them. There's way more than just this. I'm going to throw this out there. This is farm specific. There's a dog butcher strategy where you can take your dogs. A lot of people have a bunch of dogs in the single pools. So those are sitting in there. They're earning you some pigs, but it's very small. A lot of people take some of those out and they butcher them. What they do is they sell off half the dogs to get BUSD or BNB, and they take the other half and leave them as dogs and they pair them. And then they stick those in the farms, the appropriate one for dogs BUSD or dogs BNB, and they earn pigs that way. So they butcher them because the dogs pool is actually pretty low APR and the other two pools are pretty high. They don't do all their dogs, but that's another way. That's a dog butcher strategy. So just, bonus for animal farm outside of drip garden. Anyways, my point is there's tons of strategies in this ecosystem all over the place. When I did my animal farm video, I showed a friend of mine. He made a strategy that was pretty cool, went through the graphic on what he's going to do. And he has changed that up a lot since he did that. But people are changing all the time. So there's tons of stuff out there, guys. Don't limit yourself. Go search, go watch other videos. I'm just a dude that is trying to show this again to people that don't know it. But anyways, I think that's it for today's video. It's been pretty long. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. And if you did, leave some comments. If you didn't, leave some comments down and let me know what you want me to do better in the next video, or what you didn't like that I can improve on, or even suggestions. Maybe some new strategies that you use. I'd love to hear those. But anyways, that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Maybe I'll do another video this weekend, and we will see you next time.